Yo, what's up, friends? Let me know if I need an audio check. I should check right now. Got some very important messages for you. I'll turn it up a little bit. Welcome, friends. I'm probably still unlisted. Let me check. The time has come, my friends. It's good to see you. So, I came across something interesting. I know that you're going to find interesting, if I did. Most of you, anyway. Good to see you, Kit. Kit Bridge, good to see you. Evie, K. Amari. So glad he's going live. Oh, so am I, Daniel Barry. Good day, Susan. Listen. I was listening to some old clips of Ernie. And I went over to White Boy's channel to see where I couldn't figure out where he went last night, and it was over to Daisy's channel because Ernie went over up onto Daisy's channel and had a cry fest after he had a temper tantrum on White Boy's live panel. In doing so, I caught, where is that? Hold on. I caught a timestamp. Timestamp 5819 of Summer Wells Let's Chat from Crime Crazy Critters on the Farm. Here's the type of individual that you're dealing with when you talk about Daisy in that situation, in this situation. She took the opportunity to tell her audience, spread blatant disinformation that she knows is false in the moment in order to get one over on her. It's just as big of a red flag as the people perpetrating the crime in the first place. Okay, she's just as bad as a child killer. All right, she's an enabler of them, a no matter what. The people who jump to lie for the suspects, no matter what it is, are always just as bad as the suspect. What do they call that? Collusion? But still, when the investigation is going on, as Summer Wells is, crazy, this stupid Daisy is at it again. And because we love Brooke so much over here on this channel, she just had a recent live over on Crime Lines and Lies, is her channel's name. Not to be confused with Crime Crazy Critters on the Farm, which is Daisy's channel. Can you believe can you believe? Anyway. Daisy told her audience that Brooks, how can I put it? That Brooks was enabling the suspect, the person who police have named in the Michael Vaughn case out of Fruitland, Idaho. You know that fat, those 4 people that police tagged? And the one that was walking around on different live chats, on different panels, wanting to get his side of the story out in exchange for money and those Cash App donations. Kind of like what happens over on Daisy's channel. Well, she projected that back onto Brooks as though it was her doing it on behalf of the person that police named as the suspect. Is that clear enough for you? You're going to hear it right here. It's mind-numbing. I couldn't believe it. So hold on. Let me just capture the moment.
White boy will chew him up and spit him out. He has no clue who
Oh no.
when he messes with white boy. Now, white boy's a gentle giant. He's a gentle giant, but I believe if you mess with him,
White boy's a
Ernie
gentle
don't want to
giant.
go there with him.
Dude's not even that big.
She has the creator confused. The one with the YouTube earnings is.
So listen, here it comes.
Oh, okay. No, that's not the same one. Stitches. It was Brittany J. I'm talking CLL.
CLL.
I don't care what content creators make. If you are wanted fugitive, then I think it's wrong. Exactly. Exactly. Oh, that ain't nothing. Stacy Wandra is the main prime suspect in Michael Vaughn's unaliving. And she was giving him money and telling him she had feelings for him.
Well, hold on, wait till you get done laughing. Oh my god. So you can see here, she can identify psychologically, she can identify intellectually the conflict between appropriate and unethical and ethical in that sense, in her mind. And she cuts that off, then purposely adds an insult, okay? And projects it back on to the person who spent it. Like, this is coming from an evil person. She knows she's lying. She knows she's a POS in that manner. And she knows that people will believe anything that comes out of her mouth, because that's what she's chosen to surround herself with on her channel in that sense. Well, that's what happens up here on YouTube. It's the natural process of things, right? But instead of recognizing it, listen to her. And I don't even feel the need to have to tell you that that's the furthest thing from the truth. Stacy was all about telling, Stacy Wanderer was all about sending her all kinds of really sexually driven text messages and all of these communiques of a sexual type in that sense. Okay? I couldn't believe it when I heard that. I mean, that statement says so much about the person that Daisy is and the person she wants to portray, and she truly is. It interloops. It's like, oh boy, it's a real motorcycle crash with no helmet. Oh boy. Daisy the delusional SL. She had her adenoids checked. What the hell's an adenoid? What's an adenoid? Don't get confused with Granny Bassmaster.
Putting out his Cash App, having people pay for his food, his hotel rooms, and everything else.
Let's hear that again.
Stitches. It was Brittany J. I'm talking CLL.
Hello, J. Brad.
I don't care what content creators make. If you are wanted fugitive, then I think it's wrong. Exactly. Exactly. Oh, that ain't nothing. Stacy Wandra is the main prime suspect in Michael Vaughn's unaliving. And she was giving him money and telling him she had feelings for him. Putting out his Cash App, having people pay for his...
Brooks, were you telling Big Stacy Wander that you had feelings for him? Well, why wouldn't you? He's a big, handsome devil, isn't he? He's got a face only a mother could love.
His food, his hotel rooms, and everything else. To me, that's very hypocritical. Very. All right, here we go.
And?
They're just asking about if they have your permission to stream.
Who?
Team Rose is one of them. She said to ask you.
I think you have to wait like 30 minutes. I don't know. I don't know the YouTube rules on that. Or you can just wait till after the show and do a separate show. It's not going to bother me. All right.
Yeah. Okay. Either way, it don't matter. Okay. So I was in the restaurant.
Except
I was in
the one she wants to put in private that she stole off everybody else.
Hey, Jude says, Daisy sounds so weird, like there's something clogging up her face. Like she's got her face like stuffed in a pillow and she's trying to talk. In that sense? Is there something weird? Whistle While You Lurk says, Brandy has asked her not to put Michael in these lives. Exactly. You've been told by Brandy in person before. You remember that shit show? Got all kinds of stuff. Listen up right now. Do you remember this? I've pulled up a couple clips in the background. Do you remember? Do you remember this?
I started peeing on myself. I mean, I would be out at a wedding and I would soak my pants completely. Started peeing on myself after that. I started peeing on myself. I mean, I would be out at a wedding and I would soak my pants completely
Did you hear that?
with pee. I don't know. I can't explain it. And I
Yes.
remember acting out
I can
at
explain.
home,
No
acting
lie.
out in a sex way, and not
Ooh.
knowing why I did that. Like, in fact, I remember taking my clothes off and getting under covers and acting like I was having, you know what?
Are you sure it wasn't because you were had the crotch of a vulture?
And I don't even know why I did that. I was a child. But after that happened to me, I started acting out. After that, I started peeing on myself.
Oh,
I mean, I would be out at a wedding and I would soak my pants completely
at a wedding.
with pee.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I can't explain it.
Can anybody in here explain that?
And that child's in heaven one.
System. Listen to this one. Zip system.
I feel so hurt right now.
Other options. There was adoption. But listen, it already happened, Auntie. God has forgive you.
I'm
But
sorry.
you cannot support that anymore.
Well, you haven't forgiven me.
I have forgave you for that. But for you to sit here and say sin is sin.
At the same
And we need to
time,
keep
that,
whitewashing
at
this.
the same time that it
We need
happened,
to
yes,
take
I
a
would
stance
do it
and
again.
quit twisting the
Yes,
Bible
I would do
word.
it again.
True,
When
MS.
we stand before God,
I don't care.
we're gonna know
It was
that
not
we
even-
know
Leave
that
her
we
It
alone.
was not a fetus. It was not an embryo. It was a zygote.
it was a human life. The minute that sperm connected with that egg and there was a flash of light,
Leave Michelle.
As soon as that sperm connected with the egg and there was a flash of light, you didn't know that we were in biology class, did you? Oh God. Oh my God.
life
Carry
into
alone.
that child, Auntie. And that child's in heaven one
Let's see.
Leave Michelle
life
alone.
into that child, Auntie. And that child's in heaven one day. That child's in heaven right now, Auntie. That's why I told you to give that baby a name. I'm sorry, guys, but
You're
I
not
have
her
to
God.
speak it. I ask God to use me as a voice for him.
That's
And
your
I am
God.
not going to stand
Get
and
it,
tell you
Texas
all a
lady.
lie. That's not what we're supposed to do.
This is who we're dealing with.
You're
And I'm
being
not
very
going to do
Christian.
it.
You're being abusive.
I love you, Auntie Sherry, but
No,
for
you
you to
don't.
say
That
to
was a week.
do it again.
That was a week.
I understand, Auntie, that you made a mistake when you done it, but to support
I
that,
didn't make a mistake.
You made a mistake,
I
Auntie.
don't remember.
Auntie, I love you.
How
But-
am I being raped multiple times? Miss
You might have
Look
been
what she's
raped, Auntie,
doing,
but there was
pushing
other
her.
options.
Fuck you, Daisy. I'm never gonna forget.
Somebody
what
would
she's
have took
doing.
that baby and raised it.
Let me tell you. You remember that horrifying little back and forth between hey Ernie, between Daisy and poor Aunt Sherry. You know, they made up after that. Aunt Sherry's just on panel with her last night, actually. She lied 3 times while I was on panel. Oh, absolutely she did. And let me tell you, Ernie can recognize the lies and where they're coming from. Oh my God. Oh my God. So let's get back to this. So those were a few clips.
Yes, please be respectful to white boy. That is Cash App. Having people pay for
So it was, hold on here.
Stacy Wandra is the main prime suspect in Michael Vaughn's unaliving. And she was giving him
Believe
money
this?
and telling him she had feelings for him. Putting out his Cash App having people pay for his food, his hotel rooms, and everything else. To me, that's very hypocritical. Very. All right, here we go.
And
They're just asking about if they have your permission to stream.
who?
Team Rose is one of them. She said to ask you.
I think you have to wait like 30 minutes. I don't know. I don't know the YouTube rules on that. Or you can just wait till after the show and do a separate show. It's not going to bother me. All right.
Okay. Either way, it don't matter. Okay. So I was in the restaurant. And I
Except
was in the
the
Mexican
one she wants to put in private that she stole off everybody else. Yes, please be respectful to White Boy and Noel. Absolutely. Please be respectful.
Just not the bros.
All right, here we
As a
go.
matter of
Don't
fact.
be respectful
And
to her.
Liza,
I walked outside. Because Candace had called, and I wanted to be clear on everything. Because at that time, I knew I had her because she told me about the 2 days, and I didn't answer her because remember I told you I said that I'm done with you, Candace. You're just BS is pretty much, and you're just lying, and you're doing this and that, and I just can't help you. And pretty much, it was like right after the 2 days. It was like the third day she called me, and that's when all this crap with her friend, and this might be, and I'm probably gonna get this in order wrong, but Kathy, she was at Kathy's, and Kathy came through the house, and she had said, "Who's on the phone? Who you on the phone with?" And she just walked by her. You could tell that she just walked by her. And she said, "Ernie." She said, "Hell no, not Ernie." Fuck. And, she went going crazy with it. That's when.
I want to say this. Yes, Kathy might not have liked Ernie. That's probably true. I don't know. But like I said, and like Dee Dee said, Candace had other friends, not her, just her.
That's when I knew that. Right then, I knew.
Daisy thinks that she's just the mind reader and gate, keeper of everything Don and Candace. And that's exactly how they want it. They need a few more people just like that. All right. You don't need to keep going on up here about what's already occurred. You can't have that time back. Hate to tell you, Don, but you reek like a sex offender. It's like getting caught with your hand in the cookie jar.
Just change the questions up and started asking. I started asking the who, what, when, where, how. The interrogation questions about Kathy. What all she knows and what Candace.
So let's go back to a couple days ago. I just released a video being critical on the participants in it, coming from a clip that I didn't want to play in that video because I was trying to go for monetization, but I'm going to have to throw that out the window in order to capture the moment. So you ought to see Ernie's appearance last night. For the sake of watching this, excuse me for laughing into the microphone. I get giggly when I think about how funny this is. So Ernie comes up to put on a show. Like, this is what, in my mind, this is what it's all about. Ernie's target in all of this is really doing it on the back of Don. With everything that Ern's learned, look at what it's come to. And that's not to be, I'm not making a joke about that, because we all pretty much fall in line with how things look and how things were left when it comes to the Summer Wells case. Especially right now, we're not talking about something that's occurred in front of the courts, or it's a real mystery, but not in that manner. That's unfortunate. However, Ernie is using it as a way to build his character and have this stoic moment of something that you can put on a t-shirt. And he's doing it in the right spot. He's not doing it in the wrong spot. He's not going too far. He's just upset at all of the evidence at hand. And it upsets me that Jimbo has to get in the way of all of this for whatever reason. Because no matter what you think about Ernie, he has a lot of good points. You don't have to believe exactly what the guy is trying to force down your throat. He was there. He did talk to Candace Bly. He did talk to Candace Bly in ways that were valuable, nonetheless, considering the quality of interviews you usually get in scenarios like this from YouTubers. For example, leading questions. The things that Peter Hyatt complains about. Ernie nailed her with the Nancy Grace style open-ended questions so people could look back later on and maybe there's something there, maybe there's something not, with everything in mind. So it doesn't. It's it's just kind of a good. It's just a bit of a novelty that this move is on. Brought to you by Ernie Shell, so to speak. But he's a showman anyway in that sense. He's looking to put his advertisement on this, and it's a pretty safe bet. Listen, Don wants to get in the way of everything. So if you want to talk about something, Don, why don't we talk about the reality behind your past and everything that has to do with it? You don't want that. You don't want to do that. You could talk about anything till you're blue in the face. That doesn't mean you're actively engaged in a conversation about it to any level. And why would you ever want to do that? A person with nothing to hide wouldn't do that in front of an audience to begin with. So what's your motivation to get up here and be an open book? It's just completely overacting in that sense. We already know the answers to all of this shit. We don't have to engage or watch Don and Candace to know the level of depravity that we're dealing with. And no, we're not mistaken. And if you don't fall in that line of thinking, no matter how the dynamics play out in your mind of what happened to Summer, the responsibility falls all back onto the parents in this scenario. And they don't even acknowledge that. They put the blame off onto Summer in ways that are just disturbing. With a bunch of people who had no boundaries, who had no inhibitions around their kids, who invited the devil in their house. Seeing how I'm sitting around so many fake-ass Christians, you'd understand what I'm talking about. J. Brad, what is up? Let's see.
That's what I don't understand.
Yeah, Ernie, why you
So
making
this
shit
is
up?
way up. So let's get way back to the beginning. So when he goes through this T-Rev thing and this white boy, he has a point with this T-Rev thing. So I don't even want to talk about that douchebag Smoke. Trying to claim autism and use it in a scenario just to fool everybody. Fuck. I don't even want anything to do with your channel if you're engaged in that shit. Like, what a waste of fucking time. So let's get Ernie up here. Odd to say that.
The new TBI.
Literally writing.
So there's Daisy right there. She's made an appearance on White Boy's channel.
I'm not gonna play start and stop a freaking 2-hour live. This creator Crime Lies and Ernie, whatever her name is, she's welcome on the chat too. She's welcome up here if she wants
Crime
to
Lies
push
and
back.
Ernie's. White Boy, you know exactly who Brooks is. You know her. You know her channel. Why do you have to be so hateful towards her? Because you want to go at Ernie? I don't know. I don't get it. Because you have more to show. Like, first of all, you're aligned with Flat Earth. You're going too far, White Boy. You don't have to go this far and align yourself with a bunch of fucking weirdos. Why don't you remain independent? Why do you have to go to that excess? You need to drop it. Leave it an open-ended question. Identify the mystery. But hold sacred your relationship to the suspects. And that's what they are. You're the only one out there that doesn't recognize them as key suspects in all of this. That's unethical. To totally look past that. But that's what the Wells find valuable. That's you've crossed that boundary into friendship. That's all. So I mean, now you're his buddy. You're Don's best buddy. Don and Candace's best friends. And that's what White Boy wants. That's so wacky, but I mean, what do you expect? Thank you for all the amazing content, Kimberly Ashcroft. Thank you very much. Your honesty and intelligence is so refreshing. Oh, well, I'm glad I got you fooled. I love your sense of humor. Your calming voice is so incredible. Well, I turned my microphone up a little bit. I could listen to you read a phone book. Oh, don't say that. You'll get sick of it. You'll get sick of it quick, and then you'll hate me, and then you'll come find me and kill me in my sleep, probably. Like in a John Lennon type of way. But I appreciate that, Kimberly. Let's not forget, friends, hit me up at step-by-step-exploring-videos at gmail.com. Fresh batch of canna butter is coming off tonight, and all my carrier oils are fresh, and I'm making it up. So, pain-relieving moisturizing balms, they're a huge relief to menstrual cramps, ladies, by the way, if somebody in your family is suffering from such things. Highly effective. Anti-inflammatory balms. Infused with only the finest chronic. Now, hold on. I'm getting pulled in two ways. Okay. I want to see what Daisy has to say up
On
here.
her own
I
content.
have all of Ernie's lives because I streamed them. So you stole his content, is what you're saying. That's what they'll be claiming. Is that what she considers stealing content? She's one of those people who really love to talk about that. Talk about things in ways that aren't realistic. Like she's completely delusional, if you haven't noticed by now. And YouTube's full of them, by the way. YouTube, that's, I think, probably what makes it so entertaining sometimes. If you didn't have this level of delusion, would it be near as cringe-worthy?
That's fine. I will say this before I play it. It amazes me. We just had TBI come on, and 3 years. We have creators on YouTube still attacking Don and Candace with these ridiculous theories 3 years.
First of all, that's funny. I got to say something. Crooked Arrow is in my chat. I think Crooked Arrow is Sherry, isn't it? Isn't that Aunt Sherry in my chat right now? So you're saying you debunked the flat earther, meaning Daisy, by using eclipses as proof? That's all I'm commenting? Okay. No problem, Aunt Sherry. Glad you could join. I think that is Aunt Sherry at her sock account.
Years later, the case is going to go cold. If as far as YouTube goes, we either all have to work together, or I don't have an answer. But tunnel vision, Don and Candace bad, Don and Candace bad, Don and Candace bad. Let me know how that works out for you. Like how's it worked out the last 3 years? Great. Oh, what was that?
Hold on. You're talking to yourself, white boy. Stop it. Stop trying to taunt the audience. Talking to yourself, but it's funny. I got sidetracked. Sorry about that.
This lady says there's a new TBI agent on the case. No, ma'am. No. It's just a new person on the video. You don't know how many agents they have on the case. But because you saw somebody new, you're like, oh, yeah, let's report this and report this. Ernie has like 0 receipts for half of this live. It's all speculation and the dumbest shit in the world.
But look, receipts for what? I don't disagree with you about being dumb shit most of the time. But like it or not, Don and Candace are the suspects in this case. Prove me wrong. I mean, what are you going to do? Possibly stomp your feet? There's nothing that you can do about that. To lie about that is just silly on your part. I mean, why do you even have to go there? Why do you even have to bring it up? You should be emphasizing how that's not the point. You should emphasize more on how it's still not right to abuse the people that are potentially all wrapped up into this, because it could be affecting the jury pool, and there's nothing more sanctimonious than the justice coming for a missing child. You want to protect that as much as possible. Now,
What's up, white boy?
What up?
I got a lot to say about both these two.
you had a lot to say. Notice, not saying anything against you, but none of you have kids. None of you up there have children, including Don and Candace at this point. Like, how is it you two can think that you can relate to what's best, or what people are thinking, or where you should be thinking, or it's really easy in your part to disregard child safety when you've never been around kids, you've never had a child, You don't want kids. You don't even like the fucking kids. It's real easy to sit there and pretend you're all for this particular kid. And whoa. Wait, how do you know? Nothing's proved. So how can you say that and get all fucking literal? Well, I'm not sure if you've ever been on a playground trying to protect a bunch of kids, but usually somebody's got to make that call about the fucking pedo on the playground to begin with. And do you think it's usually the kid that gets abused? No, it's usually somebody watching in. So if you can't recognize stranger danger in this circumstance, you shouldn't be speaking on the topic to begin with. Watching you is the content itself. That's it.
Clowns.
Go ahead. You had me fooled because I didn't
But
understand.
it goes
your-
far
your
beyond that
name.
to be pretending like you're the only two people on the fucking internet, okay, that are pretending that Dawn and Candace are innocent and everybody else is crazy. That's literally it. Two people. You two. Be my guest. You are literally saying that these people are innocent of doing anything.
But go ahead. I'll give you the.
Knowing and proving are two different things. DA said the case has been incredibly, made incredibly even more complicated by the people who are involved in that little girl's life, meaning the parents.
The floor, Mama.
Well, I mean, Brooke's been doing this for a long time. Yet she sits over and lies, and she wants to talk about Dawn and Candace, but she was literally writing love letters to a main suspect in Michael Vaughn's case, putting out his Cash App, putting out all, like, telling him she cared for him and everything else. The
Here she goes again.
main suspect in the Michael Vaughn's case.
Are you serious?
Can you believe this shit? She not only did it on her channel, she's on White Boy's channel. She's actively spreading disinformation. That's malicious disinformation. You could go to YouTube Brooks and flag that on her and get somewhere. Maybe not on that video, but on her own you could. That's damaging. That's damaging. And YouTube is a business. It's not difficult to prove against that community guideline. Listen to what you're fucking going on about, Moo Cow Lady.
I'm dead serious. And then
Dead serious. I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious that Brooks... First of all, how do you guys expect to get that bull crap lie over? How do you expect to get that lie over? Nobody would believe that. Nobody believes that. That's completely contrary to how it all played out in the first place. It's already well documented all over YouTube. Now you're the only person actually saying that. That's the first and only person that I've ever heard say that. Go and search that up on YouTube. See if that's a thing yet. No, Brooks and Stacy is a thing, but you can go back and see exactly how that happened. Now you want to make it look like Brooks was seducing all of those nasty, filthy, sexually driven text messages, SMS communicate from Stacy Wandra as he sat alone. Do you remember that video of Stacy almost getting in that fight in the homeless shelter? Because he wouldn't get out of that chair, that lazy, big, fat bastard of him. Stacy fits right in line with Moo Cow Lady, Dawn Wells, because they're all sex offenders. They're all about themselves in that sense.
You know, she's been on Dawn and Candace's ass from the beginning, and she lies. When I had Dawn up on
Do you notice the title of her video? She doesn't lie. This is The World According to Ernie Shell. This is an interview with Ernie Shell. So how all of a sudden does it get from the message from Ernie Shell's message to being Brooks, the interviewer, the person, the conversationalist's words, Daisy? This is just Daisy spreading lies on somebody else. And you can tell by how she's talking about it. Do your research. She's just a nasty individual, a nasty human being. People, this is not who you want to be around on the internet. You can watch them, but lurk very carefully in the background and see how long you can go before you have to change the channel.
Up on panel, and I seen Michael's mom come up, Brandy. I knew it wasn't going to be good, so I put it in private. I put that
Hey, Shay.
video in private. Well, I didn't know that there was somebody else that was in my StreamYard, and they recorded it. And you know, Brandy and Don kind of had a little bit of words, and Brooke stole it and played it out. She took it. They sent it to him and played it out.
Let's just have a look here. So if we go back and say, Brandy, Neil, and Daisy, what comes up? Daisy disrespects Brandy Neal yet again. Brandy Neal has something to say. Michael Vaughn. Oh yeah, evil exists even. See, this is all over the internet. What Brandy said to you, madam, is all over the internet. But notice anything, and if you plug in any search terms of any of the keywords that came out of the bullshit from that cow lady's mouth, none of it will translate into something searchable. So maybe you're not familiar with what Brandy told Daisy. Let's catch ourselves up for a second.
My heart really goes out to Brandy Neal. I felt so heartbroken while listening to her speak about law enforcement, using tractors to dig up the yard of a house, searching for the remains of Michael. Most unimaginable pain. Some people on social media
I thought you were going to talk about Daisy here. I thought you were going to talk about Daisy here. Evil exists.
Using Facebook.
You have no right. Stop it. You are not law enforcement.
This is to
and what
Daisy.
you're doing is you are hindering Michael's case. Stop it, please.
It doesn't get any more clear than that, Daisy. This is from the mother of a child who's missing and presumed deceased by law enforcement based off of the evidence that they have now held against. And Stacy admitted to. Now he wants to back out because he realizes it's not going to work in his favor. Just drawing it out. The guilty parties have been found in this. And here's Daisy. Daisy projecting really onto Brooks, to which what she's actually doing to Dawn. You know? We all can see how you're serving Dawn and Candace in this sense, for the sake of simply continuing a conversation on your channel. But you can't talk about this case in a normal sense like we can. Because you have to okay everything through Dawn and Candace in that sense. Because you wouldn't want to spill the tea. All right? I can't wait till all the great content comes out, because you know what's going to be a hot commodity? When this case with Dawn and Candace progresses, it's going to be some fun to go back and get all of the little shit that this bitch and her fucking comrade friends all have to say in their defense and use it against them. Hold it against them for the next 5-6 years. It's something that you're never going to recover from online. The internet never forgets in that sense. And believe me, they'll never forget who the enablers of child sex offenders are.
Let them do their jobs. They are doing an amazing job, and they've continued to do an amazing job. And the things you're doing and pulling right now is unacceptable, because you know what you're doing? If some of these things that are going on right now are factual, you are hurting anything of justice for my son. Now stop it.
That was a message. There's been a couple messages come her way.
Now, and she's been streaming my stuff ever since. Like when Candace came up the other day on my panel, she tried to make more out of it than what it was. I'm just sick of her.
Make more out of it than what it was. No, we have a pretty hearty laugh about anything that Candace Bly does in front of a video camera, considering that she was the last person to be seen with a child who's now missing. And she doesn't want to come up with a story as to how that came about. And she pretends to be traumatized and runs off the set to the point even Dr. Phil called it out in a nice, subtle sort of way on his show. No matter what you say. All right? The whole world knows. And it's just a matter of time.
She acts like a 2-year-old child. And Ernie, we all know Ernie lies like a dog. And I got all his live streams with Candace.
Ernie may lie like a dog, but at least he's still aiming for the right one in this circumstance.
Because I was streaming them as he was putting them out. I have to go back and search, though.
Hey, what's up, man?
Oh, not much.
So he's got Dawn on the phone.
Hey.
So doesn't this look like a big circus? Look at the three of them. They got White Boy, we got Matt, Dawn, and Daisy. All on panel, and they're all championing. And God bless them, like, you know, it's the action. It's not necessarily anything that you're doing. It's the whole action of it is what makes it look suspect. Like, does it really need to be acknowledged in front of a YouTube audience that Ernie has some sort of wacky theory about Dawn sinking the claw end of a hammer into his daughter's skull? This is their answer. This is their answer to it. You tell me who that story benefits more. It gives you guys something to defend against. Oh, look at how hard done by we are again. Oh, imagine. Well, if you give us a decent story, maybe we wouldn't have to speculate so hard. Did we strike a nerve? Was it a claw hammer? Maybe it was a spade, a shovel, a blunt forced instrument. A blunt instrument, excuse me. Who knows? But this whole story, really, it's a theory that Ernie came up with about, which includes some other things that may not be exactly accurate, as you would imagine. It's because it's a theory, but it doesn't take away from the fact that he had some interviews directly, publicly, which never, ever go away, by the way. Interviews that can be used against her at a later stage, and probably will. Doesn't matter who did the interview. She was up there doing one. And look at her behavior at that point in time, especially when you're trying to catch up with things.
Hey, Donnie.
I got a brand new iPhone when I got locked out of it. Brand new.
Oh, did you?
Another
Daisy
phone he's
says
got.
hello.
Good, Daisy.
And Jenkies.
Jinkies.
Yeah, so I was just now starting to review this guy, Ernie Shell. Miss Daisy hopped up and she was saying the shenanigans of the creator that he jumped on's chat and whatnot.
Like, first of all, if you two were trying to go after Ernie, you didn't even use any of the easy ones, the ones that you can search. The scam of the parking lot scam at that horror convention, that crime con that he got in trouble with. There was the sticking to all the wrestlers. He pissed off Jim Neidhart. He's got some famous WWF wrestlers he's pissed off, some big names, okay? All kinds of things you could actually use against him, even ripping off the Jason mask. All kinds of things that you can throw at him to come at Ernie with, all right? We know he's a bullshitter, but it doesn't matter in this circumstance. These bullshitters want to grab that bullshit and use it as a big comfortable cover to hide under, right? So it's bullshitter on bullshitter here, I guess. Only there's a good message, like every good predator hunter video. There's a great message on the end, and that is justice for children in that sense. Like it or not, Ernie has always been about that, right? Which to the point of it being almost inappropriate. Like, it's just weird. Granted, he hasn't really wavered from that in that sense. If all of this is just to save a few children, his crazy behavior, like, he's done some pretty crazy things as well. But in this circumstance, he wants to talk about content which he produced that only he can talk about in a way, like an editor's cut in that sense, okay? So he was going back and he's talking all about it after he's come to learn all of the information, like you do after all kinds of things have happened, and you have had time to digest the scenario and the situation, right? So all of a sudden these people are on the defensive to the point where they have to make a video and make it more than it really was. Like, now you're really trying to defend against people talking about it in a way that, you know, they have every right to. Well, what do you think happened, white boy? Let's get a good laugh going.
So you need a few minutes? You want me to call you back in a few minutes?
No, I'm good.
All right.
Well, I'm gonna jump down, white boy, and I'll come back up whenever we get done.
Listen, from
All right,
the
hey, Miss
perspective of
Daisy,
white
thanks
boy,
for
it's crazy because you don't even have to associate yourself with these losers. White boy, you don't have to associate yourself with these losers. You have every opportunity and you do it. You go boots on the ground and show up. You can have a good channel in that sense. You're restricting yourself by associating with these fucking losers. I know if these two people got found guilty of something tomorrow, you would have no choice but to talk about it in a certain way. Absolutely. I watch him. I don't believe for a second that he's wholeheartedly for Don and Candace, other than he wants to make it look like he's presenting his product in a certain way from his brand. There's nothing wrong with it. But when you start getting in bed with all kinds of crazy fucking people that are championing the cause in the middle of an investigation, you start to become a tool of theirs. And that's what Daisy and White Boy have become to Don and Candace, is just a tool of disinformation.
Tell me that this lady has 30,000 subs. That's clout all day. I'll there'll be some parodies coming her way. Thank you. So Don, listen, I gotta there's this live is forever. So this is getting more comical. Apparently the lady doesn't like the suspects in so in her view, you and Candace are the prime suspects in Summer Wells' case. However, there's another missing boy case, but she wants to pork the suspects in that case. So she's got she's kind of biased, if you will, which I'm learning from Miss Daisy. But anyway, I'm going to give you some, the video is very long. Okay, now I'm getting in the comments that it's allegedly she may or may not have attempted to suck the suspect in that case. I don't know if that's a troll or what, but someone's saying swallow. Anyway, shot a load on the forehead. I don't know I don't know what's going on, but what I'm going to say is, got warts. So what we're going to do here is
Clout chasing mermaid.
Here's some notes that I took, like the first 45 minutes of this complete fuckery. Okay, the first one is claims Don had a burner phone. So this would be in pertaining to
who doesn't have a burner phone? They have all kinds of phones.
I guess this. I'll have to double check, but I'm pretty sure what this is.
So he's got all of these things he's taken at these points, and he's going to rifle them off to Don, the suspect, in order for him to deny in this circumstance. Well, I mean, who cares? I mean, what does it matter? It's just a bunch of people saying shit on the internet. What does it really matter? The fact that Don is attaching himself to all of this has to give some of it a whole lot of credibility, I would expect. Why else address it? Like, why do you got Don on the phone to sway any of these dangerous words? Oh my God. I wonder how much of it's true then. You know, that's basic psychology, kids. Christ almighty.
He kept saying that you gave the phone to Tim Mullins to scrub your phone and that you had a burner phone.
Listen, Ernie did exaggerate like crazy when he was up there. I noticed it too.
Yeah, I don't know.
That his thing is this.
Hold on a minute. This is the same guy that claimed, according to the psychics, that it was at the racetrack of all places because somebody said they've seen a red Subaru out there, and like I don't know how many red Subarus are out there, probably millions, but in the racetrack looking for a blue coat. And then the racetrack officials finally told him to get the hell out of there. He's a freaking moron. Oh my God.
Well,
you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I have somebody in the chat that
So here comes
they
Ernie, I
had
think.
dildos mailed to their house.
Yep.
Okay, well,
Yep.
dildo.
All right. So shit like that. What is he, back on meth and back on YouTube? What a freaking moron.
Well, there was 1,000 people, and these people believe anything, so we have to debunk this stuff. So here's his source of information.
Do you really have to debunk all of this stuff? Oh, it's okay. The main suspect in the crime is debunking all of the speculation. What else is that called? That's called like coffee and donuts for the homicide detectives. Holy shit. Where's my glass one-way mirror? Come here. Okay, let's all get together and hear Don deny every question. Oh, whew, thanks, Don. Thanks for coming in and clearing all that up for me. Oh boy, make my job so much easier.
The receipts on this is the outside of downstairs.
It's amazing to me how this asshole's gotten this far without actually answering any question. It's mind-boggling to me. We've sat here since 2021 and waited for these people to answer a legitimate question in a legitimate scenario, and it's never, ever been a real back and forth, whether it's WJCL, Ansley Daniels interview, or anybody else. It's all just rambling, blathering bullshit by guilty people. People who are innocent don't talk like that for years. Trying to get a genuine emotion or thought or anything out of these people is impossible because they make it that way.
Where the boys in Summers' rooms meet, the door downstairs. There was a blanket or something that was hung up, right? So Ernie Shell is trying to tell people on the internet that despite all the YouTubers stalking your residence, that the FBI, the federal agents and the sheriff there in Hawkins County, all the police that were around your house just randomly walked around your house and forgot to see. Nobody happened to see.
It's not a game of money. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about in my chat. There's no game of money in regards to Summer Wells. People talk about whatever they talk about. That exists only in your pea-brain heads. Okay, because you can't conceptualize what actual fucking making money is. You want to use it against people. Fuck, you're not on my team. I want people who know how to make money. Has nothing to do with making money off Summer Wells' name in that sense. You're the fucking idiots in here soaking it up. The same people who put the comments in it. Get the hell out of here then. Stop being contrarians. Who cares? Talk about anything, any way that I fucking feel like. But it's people like this. It has nothing to do. The money game, this is just an ends to get people to donate. You can always get in front of a microphone and tell them bullshit and get them to send you money. They'll always be like that. You can make up anything, and some fucking idiot out there is going to believe it and send you money. That's the long and short of it. That's why it's for. That's why they have it.
See this blanket that was drenched in blood with brain matter.
It was
shut the fuck
just a sheet that was covering the.
You're not fucking getting it, you stupid motherfucker. Who cares? I don't fucking care. Come in my chat and a stupid fucking name like that, Sandy Gant. Start putting in nonsense fucking shit in my time in my chat. Get fucked. You want to come in here and start to be rhetorical? You're taking away from a fucking child murder in this circumstance. You are, not me. I'm the one who's sitting up here reminding your fucking punk ass that it's you assholes that are trying to fucking polish this turd again on behalf of Don and Candace. And you're trying to put a positive spin, a positive light on child fucking murder. Okay? These two assholes are just another statistic. We've proven it in the first fucking weeks. We've proven it time and time again, and there's nothing that you assholes are going to do about it. Everybody knows it's not everybody out here's responsibility to prove shit. That's law enforcement's job. They need to prove it. We can talk about fucking anything we want, and that's not going to affect one thing or the other. Listening to people go on in a rhetorical manner because they spend too much fucking time in some moron's fucking live chat, like Crime Crazy Critters on the Farm, and start to talk about what Don and Candace want you to talk about like it's some money-making thing for a bunch of YouTubers. No, you fucking idiots. You two are child killers, okay? And we're all talking about you, Don and Candace. What the fuck are you going to do about it? Nothing. You've got the weakest ass motherfuckers on the internet championing your cause, and no matter how or what you say, you're already newsworthy. Because it'll all come back someday to work against you. That day you'll still be in denial because it'll just fall in pattern. It'll fall in with the baseline like you've been giving out every step of the way. You don't quite get this thing we call fucking life. Why don't you check out and check into that goddamn fucking prison already? You're the one making it complicated. The best that's going to do is hopefully take that fucking grand jury about another hour to figure out how guilty you two son of a bitches are.
The mattress. We said the mattress.
Fuck, I'll sit up here until I'm 90 fucking years old and pick out this bullshit. Because it's not going anywhere. And it's worth fucking pointing out. This is the real problem. When you make it an appealing choice for assholes like Don and Candace, Chris and Katie Proudfoot, who was the Boswells, Megan Boswell, all of these assholes to come to the internet and make it a comfortable place for them to push their fucking bullshit lies off on you. There's always going to be the righteous and a justifiable reason to call your punk asses out, and that just writes itself. You're the fucking content. You chose to do that. You know, you can unchoose to do that too. That's nobody's problem. You're the one who wants to enable child killers, motherfucker. That's what it is. You want to do your fucking research, bitch? Hey, fatty, why don't you do some fucking research? She doesn't even know how to fucking read. We see that time and time again. You guys are lulz cows, for fuck's sakes. And I don't have a superiority complex. You guys are straight up trying to normalize and justify your actions, which are equate to child murder. You're, according to your family, Don, and I believe your stepsisters, you're a fucking sex offender. You've just been wise and lucky enough to skirt off that wall, but it's gone too far. It's gone too far this time. And Candace is probably too scared to talk at this point. That I can believe. She knows what talking is going to get her. Dead. because you're not going to risk your life. That's what it comes down. It doesn't matter how that came about. Could have strangled your daughter. Probably how you done it. If you are involved. I'm not even saying he's involved. I'm just going off of Ernie's theory in my mind. I don't want to tell you what to think about this, but the one thing that's for sure, the writing's on the wall. The law enforcement has to prove it. You'd be an idiot otherwise. You'd be an absolute idiot if you didn't recognize this. They don't even acknowledge it. They just want to continue, Don and Candace, to tell the audience that, oh, it's just this time. You believe me this time. I'm not lying this time. All of this bullshit. They talk around the case. Right? Why you're even talking about your daughter at this point in time is beyond me, because all of your kids are wards of the state, including Summer. Summer ain't coming back home to anybody, nor was she to begin with. You knew that. DHS knew that.
Just out. At that time, the kids was sneaking sodas downstairs, and they would get spilled on their bed and stuff. I was throwing all that away. I just set it outside, But what's interesting? It's always the meth heads that come up with all the conspiracy theories and stuff. It's always the meth heads.
Yeah.
They come up with some crazy wild stuff, and they get on YouTube, and they can't wait to talk about all their craziness. I've noticed that it's mostly meth heads that do this weird ass stuff.
That's true. Forgot to tell you, side note. So just so you understand, speaking of meth heads, Cher has, they need a new computer. So the new grift, they need the 500 piece. So what had happened was,
you could sit up here, talk about this case in just one way. Let's talk about Summer Wells, and before you talk about anything Summer Wells or Sebastian Rogers, you have to keep in mind what you know and what you can prove. And you got to get in the mindset of those detectives. And it's up to you to figure that out. And Ernie, at least, is presenting, based off of his experience, something that he believes, and he sat up there and told you why. You chose not to listen. I'm not saying that you need to believe this 100%. I'm just saying, look at how shitty you acted in line of a plausible theory. You were unreceptive. You weren't able to receive the information and process it like us regular humans. Because it portrayed your boyfriend in a negative light.
Cher rubbed icy hot on Mark's testicles for measly donations in hopes to get a new laptop. Okay, but they're definitely not on meth. They're blue collar, working hard Canadians.
Cher can't hold down a real job. That's why she went back to YouTube.
Cher's not a Canadian.
You're right, but that meth head in subject had 0 teeth before a Don or a Candace. Literally got teeth off your name. Literally grifted for a fake wedding off your name.
That's not even true. Like, you can't. Come on, white boy. You've got to go at Cher with some accurate. You could go at Cher, but be accurate about it. That's not true. Not grifting. Cher's so flip floppy-ish. She's pro and con. You never quite know each day. We know Cher, so you got a point with Cher in that sense.
Literally.
But she doesn't mind getting used and abused in that circumstance. That's what her role is, and she loves to be useful to people. Women in roles like that, who think that they're useful to people who are in the underworld, let's say.
And the views are going down on Don and Candace. She has to subject herself to rub icy hot on her fake husband's testicles. You have to.
And she's been going for that wedding years before Don and Candace. She was doing that since what was the one before that? That would be excuse me. The Family Annihilator. Chris. What's his name? The oil rig guy.
I love it. It's karma. But Ernie Shell is a real fool. there's so much more. One thing he says while I have you on the phone is with that hammer thing. I don't know when he did it, but
Ernie was doing good for a while. I guess he got back on that stuff.
Well, that's what he has warrants for.
He was doing good for a while, meaning that he wasn't talking negative about you. What? I thought it was funny because Ernie was up on Brooks' channel talking to the chat, and he was trying to tell the chat, telling them that they didn't understand. Of course you don't understand because you're not bounty hunters, by the way, like Ernie. You don't, like a real life bounty hunter, that you don't understand what undercover at any point in time Ernie can be working undercover and you all would never know. Talk about like a grade 8 level comeback. I thought it was pretty good though. Like you got me there, man. That's a pretty good, like, when you're just making shit up just to make shit up and top the other person. Okay. Granted, I get it. You must. Maybe we got to come up with a safe word or something. You can let me know when you're undercover. Are you serious or are you undercover right now, yo? I can't tell. Oh my God. He's in and out.
For it now, Don. Yeah, I was just showing them, but
he comes up here. He comes up here. Do you remember how funny it was when Ernie, right after BK, he says Benny set him up. He went up on Doug's, because Doug and Benny were feuding at that point in time, and he had this man off. He was up there to show everybody how much of a man he is, and he was telling Doug Hutton how different he was in front of a camera as opposed to when he's on the phone or away from his live stream. And oh my God, it's going to be one of those scenarios again, but only like times 1,000.
At some point, you're talking to him and you're explaining what somebody who may have Summer could be doing. You've done it a couple times to me. You'll go on a tangent. What he's doing on this live is twisting your words around and telling the audience that in secrecy, you're really telling him that this is what you did to Summer. So it's a whole bunch of bullshit, bro. There's no receipts for anything.
They're just trying to make money like they always do. And when they come up with all this negative stuff, like you said, they made all kinds of money off of tearing us down. People love it, I guess, and they send them money, donations, whatever, and that's what it's all about. They could care less about their fellow human beings. They would do anything dirty to make money because money's all that matters to them.
So, dude, before.
Well, isn't that interesting? Isn't it interesting that what Don just said was exactly the same words that came out of that effing moron's mouth in my live chat a few moments ago? Well, is that a coincidence, you think? I don't think so.
Or I started talking about Ernie. There's a guy. He's one of those YouTube psychics, right?
By the way, does anybody else think it's weird? Does Don? Did I understand that right? If Don, what's his name? Don Buchanan. Sweet tea with Don B. Does he have his own personalized Summer Wells T-shirts? Like, I mean, no matter if you can do it or you can't, it's still, just a weird look to be walking around with your homemade, shirts like that, like merch. Why don't you put your own face on your merch?
There's a missing case in Florida, Don. I don't even want to get into it. It's a 13-year-old girl, and she told her schoolmate when she turns 13, she can't wait till she turns 13 so she can go move in the woods. So her mother's on and off boyfriend was taking advantage of her sexually for years. And the police have all the evidence in the world. Meat and potatoes is there's a YouTube psychic. And what he did, dude, is he had his friend call in. He had his friend call in and act like.
So, first of all, T-Rev isn't a YouTube psychic. Although it's funny to call him that when he's using the spirit box. Like, if you're going to insult people, you got to be accurate. Especially when you can. It's not like you need to make anything up. When you don't need to make shit up about somebody, you got to be accurate with it, or else you fucked up in your insult.
Like he was the boyfriend's friend.
Ernie's in chat crying like a hoe wanting the link.
Oh, Ernie, you can come on in.
So
I'm not scared to let you up.
He's got Ernie. This is my favorite part. Oh my God, we got to see this. This was a good part. You know that Ernie is going to come in and really make a scene. Let's get a good feel for this. Let's take a moment. Let's have a good look. So let's bring him a little closer.
All right, I'm letting Ernie, come on up.
This is going to be real comical.
Don knows Ernie quite well, it seems, doesn't he? Isn't that interesting? Regina. He's the YouTube psychopath. Which one? Ern? A spirit box, a decorated guitar amp? Kind of. Do you guys still have AM radios hanging around your kitchen?
Yeah.
What are you two pedo simps up to?
Try to get a new phone, so this one.
Hey, white boy. Hold on a minute, Don. I'll destroy you in a second. Hold on 1 second. I'll destroy you in a second.
You're a
No. I'm not a meth head. Not a meth head. You're a pedo simp and you suck Jimbo off. That's all you are. Show your text message between Jimbo and you right now. And he messaged you a while ago. Did Jimbo message you a while ago? I have it. Did he message you? Did he message you, you piece of shit? You're a pedo lover. Don Wells admitted he knew where these kids was at. When he admitted that, he said, I know where they're at. I've been there where they're at. Turn your fucking man card in, you piece of shit, you pussy. You big ear dick with ears, you pussy. That's all you are. You don't give a fuck about these kids. Come on, let's go, bitch. Let you and I go. I'm on my fucking deathbed, motherfucker, and I don't give a fuck. You're a fake ass bitch, boy. And Don Wells, you're a piece of shit, and I'll see you soon, motherfucker.
You should have just hung up there, man. That was good.
I'll
see you soon.
Of a woman saying that you took advantage of her 11-year-old girl.
Show me fucking receipts, you fucking big-eared, dick-eared bitch.
Yeah, so that's not even true. That's not true. So now they want to make, you remember the famous fight video where Ernie was battling it, bare-hand boxing in the trailer park? And he got thrown into the side of that trailer. Did the bottom, the skirt up pretty good on it. But Jimbo's up on this panel with this crowd. Jimbo associating with Daisy, etc., tells you the type of individual that you're dealing with there, okay? All of these SO enablers stick together in that sense, all right? These people without, we'll call them people without boundaries, without sexual and moral boundaries. So Jimbo's including himself in that with this, either because he recognizes his people, or he recognizes just simply his disdain for Ernie is overwhelming. And that could be as well, because granted, Ernie takes every opportunity to attack Jimbo. So I'm not sure who's quite ever in the lead with that back and forth.
Show me receipts, you pussy. Show me receipts. You ain't nothing but a fucking pedo lover, a man who married a fucking 12-year-old, fucked 11-year-old when she's 11, ain't even worth the fucking piece of shit that this mother...
Yeah. So let's be straight here. The reason why he's taking it down to 10 probably is because Ernie is always bringing up the fact that Jimbo at one time was an adult and did marry a 12-year-old child. Okay? This is not something I'm making up. This is well talked about. I'm not saying it's happened or this is what's true, that's what's true, but he doesn't seem to be able to talk himself out of that. All right? So, in my mind, I know the type of individual I'm dealing with, and he can go upon his life however he sees fit, right? It's not my type of person in that sense. So Ernie, you know, they want to, this girl that he was supposedly fighting over and his mom didn't like, Jimbo's trying to tell people that she was 10, which is new. That's the first time I heard she was ever an underage girl at that to the, like 10-year-old. 10-year-old is prepubescent, dude. Like that's just wacky. That's the first I've ever heard of it. And here's Jimbo. Now, let me put it this way. Here's Jimbo up there talking about prepubescent 10-year-old, 11-year-old girls. Not Ernie. He's just projecting that onto Ernie. The same guy who's been fired from being a basketball coach for inappropriately touching one of the students. He's had all kinds of issue with that. Always wanting to be around kids. Of course, he's a great family man. He loves kids. So do most pedos. All right? But for whatever reason, he's always immersed himself in this conversation. Look, dude, if it's not true, why the fuck are you always talking about it? Tell me that. How is it that that's all you talk about? You can be live every night, and there's nothing wrong with these guys. But either address it and get it over with, acknowledge it, justify your behavior, and move on. But it always seems to be a fucking thing, dude. If you're getting married at that age, you got nothing in common with this guy. You're fucking weird. Okay, it doesn't matter what year it is because you're way younger than I am.
Motherfucker in the bottom on the fucking phone is worth. Who fucking raped?
Like, there's no fucking possible way I could ever hang out with a person like that. I could ever be friends with an individual like that. That person probably won't understand why, but most of you probably understand why that would be. That's just, not my business.
White boy. Hey, white boy. Hold on a minute, Don. I'll destroy you in a second. Hold on one second. I'll destroy you in a second. No. I'm not a meth head. Not a meth head. You're a pedo simp and you suck Jimbo off. That's all you are. Show your text message between Jimbo and you right now. And he messaged you a while ago. Did Jimbo message you a while ago? I have it. Did he message you? Did he message you, you piece of shit? You're a pedo lover. Don Wells admitted he knew where these kids was at. When he admitted that, he said, I know where they're at. I've been there where they're at. Turn your fucking man card in, you piece of shit, you pussy. You big ear dick with ears, you pussy. That's all you are. You don't give a fuck about these kids. Come on, let's go, bitch. Let you and I go. I'm on my fucking deathbed, motherfucker, and I don't give a fuck. You're a fake ass bitch, boy. And Don Wells, you're a piece of shit, and I'll see you soon, motherfucker. I'll see you soon.
Of a woman saying that you took advantage of her 11-year-old girl.
Show me fucking receipts, you fucking big-eared, dick-eared bitch. Show me receipts, you pussy. Show me receipts. You ain't nothing but a fucking pedo lover, a man who married a fucking 12-year-old, fucked the 11-year-old when she's 11. Ain't even worth the fucking piece of shit that this motherfucker in the bottom on the fucking phone is worth. Who fucking raped this fucking...
So Ernie might, in this circumstance, Ernie has some points that aren't fabricated, as opposed to the other people's who are fabricated. I'm not telling you who's true and what's what. This is just an ongoing bullshit, an ongoing bullshit thing. But in this circumstance, when it comes to Jimbo, like, it's not unheard of, like, in different parts of the country, if you've ever lived or maybe you know certain denominations or orders of Mennonites or Amish or Old Order, Schwarzentroopers, or things like this. And the abuse and the young arranged marriages in that circumstance, that's what it sounds like when I hear Jimbo's story. And I never really followed up on it. I'm not sure if maybe he married or was it in a some sort of cult or some sort of Old Order Mennonite denomination somewhere. Because if he's not, then it's just straight inbred hick shit, yo. You're weird. You're marrying a 12-year-old? The fact that a parent would even allow that at that point in time makes me shake my head. And tells me that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. It's got to be some sort of weird inbred sexual abuse going on in that family. Absolutely. Because no parent in their right mind would ever recognize that as okay. Ever. That's my opinion, of course.
Daughter took showers with her. Did he take showers with her? Hey, big-eared bitch. Did he take a fucking shower with her? He fucking admitted it, you dumb son of a bitch. And you sat there and you let him put his arm around you. Did he bend you over on the fucking couch like he did Benny Keys? You fucking bitch. You pussy. Come and get it, motherfucker. It shows you to the people. I'm about clarity. Don Wells, come on, motherfucker. Did this big-eared bitch sign a fucking NDA? Because I fucking did, bitch. I told you to stick it up your motherfucking ass and rotate on it, boy. Now you go fuck that, son.
Good on him, though. For all this time, You know, I don't have a whole lot of problems with anything that Ernie's saying there. You guys? I'm like, slam dunk on that, brother. You know? Like, Ernie just went up to slam dunk on him in front of the public. That's all I really see. It just so happens that Ernie's recognizing it's hard for him because he's such an embellisher. His salesman, we'll call it. A bullshitter. And it's hard for him not to exaggerate, but he doesn't need to. He doesn't need to come up and spin any bullshit. These guys are trying to spin bullshit on Ernie, which, you know, this is interesting. I've never seen Ernie get lied on before. Isn't it weird? Ernie, these dudes are lying on you, man. Usually you're the one doing the lying. What the hell's going on?
You want to
I'll come and get it, boy. Where you at?
Oh, I know Jimbo. Hey, Jimbo, I know you pedo. You was about it. So
these guys always talking, always jabbing at each other on panels. Kind of funny.
the text message between you two bitches. Show the text message. Show the people the clarity. You piece of shit. You went and threatened Brooks. You threatened Brooks, dude. You showed a picture of your front and your back and a fucking kitty cat. You did.
Whoops, I was muted. Where did I read that? Ernie said that he was on his deathbed during that. Is he really? Well, I saw some pictures and he lost a lot of weight. So I would expect that Ernie's not going to tell you exactly what is wrong with him. He'll make up all kinds of things that are probably could be associated with it, and get his money's worth, like you do in front of a camera. Get you feeling good and sorry for him, so you can part with your dollar a little easier.
Yeah. Why did you do that for? Why did you do that for? You sent fucking messages. We have them. We have them, you big. We have them, pedo. Did you marry a 12-year-old and lie about it 5 different times and you talk? You let the worst piece of shit on fucking YouTube catch you, dumb son of a bitch.
14-inch black dildo or the 12.5 pink one, Ernie? And do you wear the cowboy hat?
That just goes to show you.
You want to come in my fucking chat? You want to fucking come in my chat and correct me? I'll call him Skern Dog. I'll call him G Dog. I'll call him Skirny. I'll call him Ernie. I'll call him whatever the fuck I want to call him. Okay? Right? You don't need to come in my chat and correct me about who I call who what. Especially when you come around and carry all of these symbols behind your name and think that you belong to some sort of collective, you fucking pinko.
Big, we have them, pedo. Did you marry a 12-year-old and lie about it 5 different times and you talk? You let the worst piece of shit on fucking YouTube catch you, dumb son of a bitch.
14-inch black dildo or the 12.5 pink one, Ernie? And do you wear the cowboy hat?
That just goes to show you, white boy. Turn your fucking man card in, you pussy.
All you do is scam people on the internet, take advantage of people. All you did is exploit Candace in a vulnerable spot when she's drunk.
That's why my lives say fucking fundraiser.
So you exploited Candace when she was drunk. When she was drunk, she wanted Ernie to come over. She was trying to bait Ernie. She wanted to get some of the Ern Dog. So when you call, you know, this wasn't just a one-off thing. This was a several different times which they talked. Not just one time he stopped by with the pizza. That was one instance. But they had several lives, several interviews. There's quite a bit of content between Ernie and Candace in that sense. While Don was freshly locked up.
Before you dumb dick sucker. Mine don't say that, does it? Yours does, bitch. Yours does. You put shit out there on the internet. Well, hey, come face it. Come face it. This motherfucker in the bottom here, Don Wells, he plainly said that he knew where these kids was at, and he's been there.
Somebody shut him up. Jimbo, are you here? That
I'm
dude
here,
did
sir.
9 grams of meth. I'm not going to lose my voice because he won't shut the fuck up. Ernie, have a civil conversation. You sitting up here trying to out-talk me, it's not going to work. So here's how it goes as adults.
So it's a fine time. So when the 10-year-old didn't stick, now you're going to have to be the better man. You're going to have to regain control of the panel. I'm sorry, Ernie. You're in too much of a role. You're going to have to leave. You're too good. It's like when you go to the casino and you start winning. Oh my God! Yeah, you interviewed Don too. That's true. That wild card. Now hold on. Let me go back over to Brooks. Hold on. Wrong one. No, hold it. Your horse is here.
Because I remember when you took the pizza, you didn't go inside. You had to leave it on top of the car. So when were you inside the house?
No, Candace had actually passed out. You could see through the windows. The windows were clear, little block squares. You could see through the window of her door, and that's how you could see how.
Listen, it's not necessarily KMRE. In fact, it's. I should say rarely. It's rarely what in this circumstance that Ernie said to Candace, rather than how Candace was behaving at the time, how she responded to certain actions, what she was doing, usually to avoid it, to avoid a question. It's so blatant. You can damn near measure based off of what it is they're saying, to the exact opposite. Like the inverse is true to whatever it is that they're presenting. Like their baseline is lying. Their baseline has been to really lie and obfuscate, both at the same time, if at all possible.
Messy it was inside. I mean, you could just look through and you got a vision of everything. You could see condom wrappers and
Listen, we know, but what could we prove? They're going to have to figure something out. They have to have something. Like, these are all conversations that are interesting that can still be had in Summer's case. What can law enforcement prove? Well, enough to take it to a grand jury, I would expect. The more, the better. In this situation, we don't have we let's say we're not going to expect to have a body. That would be wishful thinking in this circumstance. But just with the very little that you had over the first 2 months that accumulated, and you analyze that, especially with what Don said publicly in relation to the things that have come out and that are true now, how could you not see that as a blatant conflict here in light that there's a missing child? Well, they do. I'm not saying that they don't. What we know and what we can prove are two different things. Only they're going to know that. All right? They're already in that mindset. How much are you going to be able to prove when they've planned so much around it? In fact, that you have to present it very carefully if that is the case. And if you have to let some time pass to make sure that, in fact, that is the case. And there's really no other option than the obvious. And that's when you present them to it. When you've exhausted all other options and proved all other areas either true or false, but the point is to analyze them. You have to, that takes time. So the lack of evidence in this is going to be evidence in and of itself. And there would have to be obviously a way that law enforcement is going to present it. So don't expect to know it.
like actual condoms. It was condoms like 4 foot from the door, like literally like 4 foot from the freaking door. There was another thing thrown over the table, and Candace had fell across the table, passed out, and you could see her feet, but you couldn't see the rest of her. And I was knocking on the door, and you can hear me in the live. I see her feet, or I
That's
see
for sure,
some
Shay.
part of her. That's what I said.
Shay's reminding us that Ernie certainly has got experience testifying in front of grand juries, no doubt. But he's not an accessory to any of this at this point. Yeah, that's horrible to hear that, Jay Brad. I heard that this morning.
Said, and but she never would open the door, so we left the pizza on top of the car. Whatever happened with the pizza. I know we was out about $28 or $29.
Yeah, I saw the pictures and God.
And and then we went, and then Lisa and I, we went and bought dog food, cat food, houses for the cats, dog supplies. We spent like I want to say it's like $130, $135 in Walmart, and we took it over to them and everything. So there was a live about it. There's actually a live about it. Do you remember the police when I was up there? They got a flat tire, and I scared the sheriff's department to death when I walked up on them because they didn't hear me.
I don't remember that part now.
Benny Keys had called the police. Hell, he called the SWAT team, I believe. I don't know.
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay.
He was on his live calling the police.
Or is it?
Go ahead.
Real Rockin' Robin said she saw that when all that went down. I
Yeah.
didn't.
Every time that I would even say, hey, I'm in Hawkins County. What could I be doing? Like that. Just to test how Benny would react. Because I wanted to see how he would react to it. And of course, he would call the police. Oh, he's threatening Candace right now. I'm her overseer. I'm her, I forget what word they was using. My Cash App up. That's the only time. And $1 in one day.
Well, then
And
why?
it's, Benny Keys, his 76,000 and all that. Like when he would have Candace put an aluminum foil, Candace said he would have her. That was his idea, to put the aluminum foil on her head and make the little twig sticking out of it. And they would do 12-hour lives. And she said she'd be so tired that she didn't even want to do it. And he raised like $8,000 or $9,000. And he would remember when I showed you what, from her Cash App to his, she showed me everything that he had gave over to her. It was like $75 one time, $25. There was a $50 and a $10, but he made thousands of dollars. That
It's not their jurisdiction.
Well, if she called you, that's only because, like, she's
Her because a
Hold on here. Let's see what chat has to say. Let me see. Yeah, Kayamari brought up a good point in my chat right now. I find it hard to believe they would want to be responsible enough to use condoms. Yeah, how thoughtful of them. You would have thought that they would have used condoms before they had all those kids they lost to the state. Whoa! Hitting you with some truth fucking serum there. Ouch. I have a hard time believing that too. I think the condoms probably came with Ernie. This was like a Chris Hansen scenario. They probably came with Ernie with the pizza. What else did you bring in that bag of yours? A whole list of stuff that Candace was trying to get you. Candace was on the phone with you trying to bait her. It's just a competition between you and Benny at that time anyway, in that sense. That's a good one though, KMRA. Let's see. In the video, Ernie can't see anything because there's no lights on. That's right. He was up there in the dark. He was walking up. Didn't he have a sore leg or something? Oh, he was something wrong with Ernie in that video as well. Some injury. I think they said enough on YouTube HDC alone to at least get up enough for an indictment. Well, what it would be most helpful with is validating any sort of suspicions that they've had in their mind about things in relation to the facts that they know that that nobody else out there knows. So they know what they have close to their vest. And when you hear them maintain these stories, they already know that their story is bullshit, that they don't have any story, right? They've gone through the rigmarole. They've given these drug fueled alcoholics a polygraph test, like that would mean anything, you know. But old Candace couldn't take the test because she was so traumatized. Well, that's just as good as failing it in my mind. Whether you're traumatized with the damn strap on or off, that's still triggering that needle. You're just not triggering the needle with the strap on, honey. So you're basically admitting to your guilt in doing so. That answers that, right? That answers that. I can't take it. I'm too upset. All right. It's too difficult to get a baseline off of you. But your baseline has been lying and avoiding this entire time. Sweet Tea, thank you very much, darling. Faded Jean says, certain creators skirt around the topic of Don and Candace signing over their rights to the boys. We were on it since the get-go. I mean, what do you want to say about it? Like, obviously, when a child comes up missing from your house and you want to get in front of the cameras and act like Don and Candace, when Child Protective Services sees that, there's going to be an immediate need to intervene in this circumstance, because obviously those kids are at an elevated risk. We don't expect the guilty parties to be honest with you in this case. You might want them to be honest deep down, but these people are guilty. Okay? They know how guilty they are. They're just up here in your face until you believe them. Power of suggestion. They're going to sit up here and tell you everything under the sun about anything possible until people start to like them and start to present them in a positive light. And that'll be their best shield against anything to come. But what you're really doing is enabling these sons of bitches in copycat filicide or child murder. This is a copycat scenario. And people recognize that all the time. They don't address it like I just addressed it. They're recognizing that there's similarities and there's all these similarities. Yeah, no shit. No shit. Why the fuck do you think they're here in the first place? They came here with that in mind. Okay? Because at the end of it, they're normalizing all you true crime fanatics that want to present it in certain naive ways. These people have a reason to bring it here and have a reason to normalize their situations because they're fucking guilty. Okay? Otherwise, they would have no reason to talk to a stranger like you. Why would anybody want to talk to a YouTuber that's probably going to profit off them just for the sake of... Fuck, a person who's innocent wouldn't even want to give you the time of day. It's not a thing. It's not a thing, unfortunately. It's only a thing... Sure, hon. Bring it over here, please. Bring that back. I'll pour you some. Just one moment. We got Coca-Cola out of the cooler. Charity, bring that back, please. Yes, everything is just fine. We're back. Is it the 70s? LOL. Something straight from the Muppet Show there, isn't it? No. Actually, took it. She didn't take it off. Actually, she took it, then went and got her cup. I just thought she was taking off with it. But she was bringing it back for me to pour for her. Very thoughtful of her. Like I had much of a choice.
The person of interest was living with her. It could be because of the pills. It could be because she had the box with Summer's jacket for a very long time. I don't know. I mean, she got caught lying when she said that she took the box to her local law enforcement and they didn't want it. Well, why would they? It's not their jurisdiction. Take it to Hawkins County. Take it to the TBI. You know, you drive all over Hell's Half Acre to camp. Why didn't you take it to the appropriate person? So this is something from When Evil Enters, talking about these two, and I've got more.
I don't give a shit about your daughter.
Well, I do give a shit about my daughter. It's the fucking Ernie.
Okay, that's you yelling at Candace saying you don't give a shit about your daughter. Candace goes, I do give a shit about my daughter. And then Kathy gets mad that she's on the phone. Do you remember this night?
Yeah, she got mad because she said, "Who you talking to?" And she said, "It's Ernie." And she said, "No." And then she comes through her and she says, "F you, Ernie." And she's like, "Oh, I'll just be a minute. I'll just be a minute." No, she didn't want her talking to me.
Let me turn on the closed captioning. Maybe that'll help. Hang on.
I don't give a shit about your daughter.
Well, I do give a shit about my daughter. It's the fucking Ernie.
That was Ernie. Where did I read that? Where did I read you? Ernie went there. Candace was at Kathy's. He fed the pizza to the dogs. Yeah, that was a waste of a pizza that night. Remember, it was a big event. He needed everybody to be there, and she stood him up. She wouldn't even answer the door. Let's see. Where did I leave off? Val Leonardo, DW took showers with his daughter, yes or no? That's the admission coming right from Don Wells' mouth. That would be a yes, but that's not half that ain't nothing. Okay? That's him admitting to that, saying that. All right? That's because Candace wouldn't take showers. These are his words that come out of his mouth. Okay? Aren't made up against him. But there's the situation with his stepsisters. There's his admission to his other daughter who was raped, and he gave her kudos for staying silent about it and not coming forward. How many times have we, it's just, it goes on with him, with the things that he says, directly. These aren't misunderstandings on his part. You can really see the type of individual he is, especially in his real life, unfortunately. You get a really clear understanding for the type of environment which the kids were being raised in. Candace is what you would call a hands-off parent. Helicopter broke down parent. The opposite, right? Let's see. I'm so glad the boys were removed. They may actually have a chance now. Yes. Hopefully they're doing well. It's going to be a bit of a journey because obviously it's not an ideal situation. Yeah, Chris Hansen with the pizza. That's right. Where did I see that? Chris Hansen with the pizza, Juniper. It was a Chris Hansen scenario because Candace wanted him to stop by. It was all romantic. She just didn't want anything to be on camera. And no matter what, you could always tell Ernie's content. He always stayed true to really knowing that this person is the prime suspect in all of this, not my friend. She wanted Ernie to be her friend in that circumstance, if you know what I mean, in a romantic manner. You could see that, and she was always hammered and drunk and flirty in that sense publicly. But Ernie stayed true to the fact of always staying true to questions and having his eye on the prize after, really no different than Skeezy did, because they're both after the same thing, some sort of in that would give them or put them in a position to get that money, to find out what happened to Summer and hopefully a body, or what would most likely. You need the most accurate information available. There's no better information than actually going and being there and being embedded with the parents in that sense, to draw out the information under the guise of being their friend. And wouldn't you know it, that's exactly what Benny and Ernie both do exclusively on their channels. That's their methods, their methodology.
Oh my God. Stop yelling, please. No, fuck you, Ernie. Please stop.
F you, Ernie. That was a good conversation. But that's still a valuable piece, a valuable conversation. That still doesn't matter where it went. Think about all the things going on in the background, all the things that you can figure out to be true because this actually existed. Okay, and it's not just somebody's words. This was a phone call. No matter how it's described to you, you can take that bare phone call and try to answer or pull relevant questions from what's given to you, not what's being led, or you're not being led in a certain way.
Stop yelling, please stop yelling. Hello?
So Kathy, the friend, Kathy, the Christian, is just yelling, F you, Ernie, F you, Ernie, F you, Ernie, after you say to Candace, you don't care about your daughter.
Please stop yelling.
Actually, that's a pretty good point too. Maggie Mag says Benny Keys was the condom dude. That's a good point, because he's the one that was probably over there, and he, you know how lazy he is. He probably wouldn't even use the garbage to put it away. Just throw him right out there in the floor. Probably should just throw him in the basement. There's a hole in the floor. I get 3 points. Yeah, so I left off there, Faded Jeans. You're right. Certain creators skirt around the topic of Don and Candace signing over the rights to the boys. So, were they forced to eventually do that? Or, what else was there? Like, that's kind of what happens when your time runs out with them. They give you that list, I would expect. And they really did their best to try to make themselves out to look like they were being mistreated or abused somehow by the system in an unfair judgment. Oh shit, no. You could see that something's up from a mile away. You didn't really need to hear any of the dynamics or hear anybody explain this scenario. There's a real problem here, and the parents primarily don't want to address it. They don't want to have a normal conversation about what's going on. It's always this diversion somewhere else, and that's been atypical in every scenario.
Yeah, exactly.
Please just stop yelling.
I ain't got nothing against it. I mean, it's whatever. I mean, like I said,
Well, I would expect, because hot water out there is probably electric Shay's safe space. She's asking, why would you take a shower with Summer and drywall dust all over your nasty ass anyway? Well, he's not that dirty because he doesn't work that hard, right? He's always screwing over the boss. Drywall dust, Donnie and Summer, it wouldn't matter. It would be how much hot water's in the tank. It's like, if I'm in the shower, why don't I just pick up my daughter and she can stand with me and I can scrub her down and keep her clean? It's just his way of prioritizing things around the house, right? He's thinking like he's doing a good thing while he's sitting in there naked with a hard on with his 5-year-old daughter, soaping it up. Yeah, it's shocking. You wouldn't think, Candace wouldn't think anything of it. Grandis has straight out said the only thing that makes her a little bit standoffish about old Don here is that black powder pistol he keeps in his passenger seat driver's box of his truck. Yeah, WTF sleeping naked with his daughter, OMG. Yeah, well, these are admissions to him. This is how he sleeps. He sleeps naked. what it really shows you is his lack of moral boundaries, especially when he's speaking in public. What else are what else don't you know in that circumstance? You're seeing two things that could, are definite red flags already. So what is it you don't know? What's the rest of the story? Probably never really technically know. You can only really put it together based off of his history and his propensities, the things that he enjoys, and we know that to be sniffing panties, looking through people's windows, like those weird dudes on the 6 o'clock news in LA. Like, he's a freak like that. Loves to pretend he's a fake Christian. He's busy ripping off people's churches, women's underwear. Having all kinds of weird sex parties up on the hill, picking people up from the gas station, bringing them home, introducing them, and banging them. Right in front of the kids. All in front of the kids. It's how they live. In fact, if you want to look at it from that perspective, while we're out here zoomed out at 11,000 kilometers, you can see how Allison and Andrew fit into that weird, open, sexual, this perspective, this mindset. Well, of course, Allison and Sherry Delaney are going to be friends with Dawn and Candace. They're all a bit freakish in the sack, right? They're all freakish. Remember? They're all fighting over Jose, who's a transvestite, cross-dressing heroin addict, who's apparently no longer with us anymore. But he was out there and told us his account from just staying out on the couch. Remember how he had to go at Dawn? So he says, that guy. But Pandrew had his associations with it. So he's got, Pandrew. Remember how Pandrew came out to everybody? Should almost remind him of that. Like, he was this dude confused whether or not he should be here raising money for breasts, all off of Summer Wells' name, in that sense, if you want to direct it. But his real reason for being is his association with Hunter, who was one of the last people to see Summer alive on the 15th. Shay, you thought Ernie could call her out more as far as questions? Yeah, I don't think he wasn't. He got to let Ernie work his mojo. Ernie really fancies himself this individual who is really tapped into the human psyche, and he can really get inside your head in a way that only a brother to a serial killer can. In a way that's going to benefit him. As any good manipulator recognizes. Of course, it's not because you know anything. It's because you want to be in there, the fresh one, the first one. So you can exploit to your heart's content. Yep, Andrew, he came out gay guy with a wife. That's right, Andrew. But his association, he's a high class prostitute. He was only, he was selling his body, but only for big money. And he was doing all these flamboyant kind of gestures. Man, ones that were just hilarious. That's why I recorded them. Oh my God. Yeah, he's a bisexual high-priced hooker. And so these are the types, an example of the individuals who spend a lot of their time up at 110 Ben Hill Road. Okay, that's the point to bringing that up. Now, you've just gotten to know them. You've put a human face behind the stories. And now you battle with your own internal feelings back and forth about whatever it is that you think, right? Whatever whatever comes your way, you judge in that sense, like everybody else. So even from those people, we can take from an example, those particular people identified others and other separate parties saying the same thing about underage, inappropriate sex parties up on that particular hill. JJ says, I kind of have always thought that Candace is taking Summer swimming. It was Summer's bath time by Candace. Oh. I don't know about that. That's a good point. I've always wondered about that, Luna. In my opinion, Summer was definitely drugged when she was in the back of that truck, resting her head on the cold milk gallons. That picture, that 309 picture of her in the back of Grandma's truck with clearly out but on cold milk jugs, that would take the body heat and suck it right out of you. There's no way that a person would stay on cold milk jugs for very long, let alone fall asleep on them. And especially, yeah, I can see where you could think that. I'm probably along the same lines as you, thinking the same thing, because they've introduced all of the factors in this. They're the ones who brought up medication, stopping to pick up a prescription. They've brought that up. That can mean all kinds of things, even though it was for Grandma and all of these little intricacies. No, assholes. You're the one who brought up drugs and prescription, and also have a picture of a zonked out 5-year-old in the back seat up against a bunch of cold milk jugs with a coat on in June. What the fuck is up? All kinds of things wrong with that picture, son. All right? There's no getting away from that. You're not going to explain that away. That's working against you. They were fighting over Jose. He likes chicks with dicks. Do you remember when Candace said that to Chris McDonough? Oh my God. Oh my God. They shunned all the searchers. They never took part in any of the searches themselves. They insisted they already knew what happened before that they really should. Dude, if this actually really happened to you, you would be affected to the point where you would be your baseline would be just like every other innocent families that's just been victimized. And you couldn't be any further from the fucking truth. That's the baseline that you should have, like every other traumatized family. And you're not traumatized. You're the opposite. You're too busy trying to cover your tracks. What do you know? What can you prove? I wish I was in that goddamn investigation room. I wish I knew what law enforcement knew. I know enough about the case to know that they are going to know the areas of interest that have piqued your interest at home like they have mine. The things that would obviously be of interest that only they could answer. Never, ever. They're out here talking because they feel that they have to. That's what's really driving this. Not because they think there's any financial gain in it. That's just a benefit. They're out here because they have to. That's desperation. They're feeling that that's going to be their saving grace. And it's going to create a lot more problems and draw things out, which is going to be towards their advantage, hopefully. Hopefully they can draw it in a way that limits suspicion. There's the problem. They're not all that smart, okay? Because there's no fucking possible way that if you committed a crime like this, you would want to bring attention to yourself. That would kind of be against the point. I mean, there's always hiding in plain sight, I guess, but usually you can't identify that till long after, and it's an analogy that doesn't fit. You know, you two are guilty of something, all right, and you're flaunting it in front of a camera. How long before that's going to work against you? You know, one day they're just going to pull up and slap cuffs on you, pull you in. But it's probably going to happen more like questioning, where you're never going to be allowed to leave again. Although you came down of your own free will to the police station. That is the next step. Take a look at the level of denial that these parents have had since the July 2021, since they took the kids from them. And think about how people reacted every step of the way, and how badly they wanted to believe that Dawn and Candace were caring, loving parents, and those boys were going to come back. That should tell you exactly all that you need to know about these types of individuals. And thank your lucky stars that these two aren't your parents. And remind yourself that there's a lot more asshole parents out there like this. And that should terrify you. Parents like Dawn and Candace are terrifying. And it's what's wrong with this world. People like this. People like Dawn, like White Boy, you go on and you clearly state that people like Dawn are your mortal enemy. You stand against people like that. At what point did you bite and believe everything that these people who are clearly lying have to say to you? Is that a conscious decision? There's no possible way that deep down he doesn't recognize that as well. But he's taking it too far. People have taken it too far to the point of actually believing all of the shit that comes out of their mouth. You people are crazy. All right? At no fucking point. All bets are off when you put a child on that table. All bets are off. Every man for themselves. You can't be... This is what we protect our kids against. And here we are with a person who says that no matter what, the justice for those children come first. And you're trying to push a narrative from a couple of people who killed their child in such an obvious way. Like, this is a great example. These people don't care about their children. And that's the shock that none of us can really get over, can we? Watching that in real time and how raw and real that is, because, again, you would expect these people to put, especially now that they've got no responsibilities, they're still going to continue to work hard at putting themselves before their kids in front of the people who think and believe that they really love their children, that they're so hard done by. No, they wanted to get rid of their kids. They didn't want their children. How can you know? By their behavior. They didn't want to feed, clothe, educate, get up every morning, go to appointments. They were living the typical life of a debaucherous sex house, an opium den, a weird, but the type where the parents just got so hooked on drugs, like the scene in Train Spotting, maybe is a good movie, where they're so hooked on heroin, the baby has died and rigor mortis has taken over in the crib. The drugs have taken it in that state, and your priorities twist no matter what. It's just an offset of what happens when you are engaged in all of that. Not to mention the fact that you're so self-centered in that, because it's a sex fest. It's a fuck fest. It's all about feeling good. It's all about you and getting it on. It's what it's for. And you never want those good times to end. Pretty soon it becomes your lifestyle. And that lifestyle is not conducive with raising kids, obviously. And that's really what's happened in this circumstance. That's happened. And you don't have to know this story to understand that. You don't have to know anything that the parents say. Right, Luna. I forgot. And what they omit from their statements as well. That's a good point. Thank you for reminding me there. Sometimes it's not what you say, it's what you leave out. That's an understatement, but it's really well put in this circumstance, because that applies here like nobody's business. It's what you leave out in this circumstance. You leave out, you could ask them such a direct question, they will leave that out, but give you an answer that has nothing to do with anything that you just asked about. And then tell you it's you. So there's an element of gaslighting in it as well, which is just bizarre. Like, clearly we're dealing with guilty people here, and you have to expect, and you don't expect them to tell you the truth. You expect them to try to protect themselves at all costs, because that's what you do when you've committed a crime, no matter how you've committed it, and you're trying to get away. Go ahead. Just one, though, please. Just one. Kiwis for $1. Kiwis are good. Everybody down there in New Zealand. Thank you. I think these ones might have come somewhere else, though. Good girl. Conveniently enough, got to their weed and meth dealers close by, too. Well, that's just... everybody's close to one of those. We talking about... You talking about Jody Sue? Jody Stew? CPS was coming anyway, and Dawn wasn't going to lose Summer, in my opinion. Meep, you're in my chat. That's a good point. Good point. Good timing, because whatever happened to Summer, CPS was probably, not just probably, CPS or DCS in Tennessee. Anybody else I want to go through? They were already in the picture. That was a constant thing. They would have already been in the picture. It was probably getting a little bit too hot because them keep reappearing, and obviously Don's going to want to put his sexuality, his proclivities, and himself and his needs as a man before anybody else's needs in that household. That includes his sexual needs as well. That goes without saying. That's part of being the man of the house, isn't it? And unfortunately, I believe Summer was an object of gratification. And that isn't me just wanting that to happen. That's based off of all that I've come to learn about Don and the things that he's said in relation to how he thinks about human sexuality, interpersonal relationships with family members. Right? Fucking and putting a fucking on a family member for Don is old hat. And the people that they surround themselves with are all sex offenders and all have sketchy fucking pasts, and they speak and protect each other. And you can hear it. He hides behind his fake religion and this insulating language that you often hear other groomers and child groomers and people who are after and who are guilty of having done harm sexually to underage kids normalize their actions. That's what Don Wells sounds like. Yeah, that property in Utah where Don shared and said it belonged to a millionaire. That was a long time ago. That was when they went out to Dr. Phil, wasn't it? I don't know about that. I don't know about that one. That property. But anyway, we're going to go have dinner. There's 2 hours. Friends will be on a little bit later tonight. Yeah. So there's all kinds of things to talk about. Summer Friends. Don't let it get to you.